So I have one question. Can you feel the love tonight? Because I sure as hell don't. The Lion King 2019 is directed by Jon Favreau and stars the voice talents of James Earl Jones, Donald Glover, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Eric Andre. The list goes on and on, guys. Beyonce, and so on and so forth. And it tells the story of a young lion cub named Simba who, after the death of his father, is tricked into leaving the Pride Lands and running away. But of course, he learns that at some point he has to take his place in the circle of life. The Lion King 2019. And what is there to say about this movie that hasn't already been said? You know, the thing about these Disney live action adaptations, they're a mixed bag. And because of that, you tend to always want to give them another chance because there's some good ones out there. For instance, you have Cinderella, 101 Dalmatians, and most recently Aladdin, as just a few examples of the ones that worked. And I think the reason those work really well is, or to varying degrees, is because of the fact that they all added something that the originals may not have had. They all managed to add that little extra ingredient that made them enjoyable. For instance, with Aladdin, there's the character development that we get with the genie and Jasmine and all these other characters. That little hit of Bollywood that somehow works really well in the Aladdin story. You could even take a look at Maleficent, which of course is not really a live action adaptation of anything. If it's more than anything, it's a sequel. But it works because they took a character and they developed that character and they gave us something different. Then we have the movies that basically feed you the same thing except in 3D. And that's your, let's count them down. Besides Lion King, you have Beauty and the Beast, you have Dumbo. You have these movies that just do not work in this format. So it's a case of just because you can, doesn't mean you should. So let's take a look first. I don't want to beat this film down completely. Let's take a look at what works in this film. And for me, simply put, the voice cast. The voice acting in this film is pretty solid all around. Of course, we have the incomparable James Earl Jones returning as Mufasa. Nobody else could do that voice. I think if they put anybody else in that role, it just would not work. It's like saying somebody else is the voice of Darth Vader. It's just not going to work. And I'm so happy that he still has that kind of conquering, commanding presence his voice gives. You don't even need to see him. And of course, we have a new addition, Seth Rogen as Pumbaa. I thought, I don't know, if he was ever born to play a role, it was the voice for Pumbaa. That worked really well for me. Eric Andre as, I think it's Azizi, who was originally Ed. I might be mixing them up. I thought he was really funny as well. The standout for me actually was John Oliver as Zazu. I thought he was excellent. Rowan Atkinson, aka Mr. Bean, originally did the voice work, and John Oliver, I don't know, he fit so well. His personality fits so well with this character that I honestly forgot Rowan Atkinson did the original voice work because it just seemed to mesh so perfectly. So everybody really delivers with their voice work. Alfre Woodard as Sarabi. We have Beyonce as Nala, you know. The voice work is not a problem. The visuals, yes, this looks realistic to the point where everybody's calling it a live action adaptation. And there's nothing alive in this movie. There's not one human character, of course, and there's not one real animal in this entire film. So you have to give credit to Jon Favreau. His work on Jungle Book, I enjoyed that film a hell of a lot more, but his work on Jungle Book and now his work here, what he's done with the CG and making these animals look like they basically jumped off of a National Geographic, it works in that respect. Everything here, the locations, everything just seems like the animated film brought into this dimension. So it looks really good. That said, there's a lot of lack of color to this that we have in the animated film. Yes, this is the the plains of Africa, and it, you know, in real life it's gonna look dry and arid in some places and green in other places. But here there's just way too much beige and brown, and everything including the lions feel washed out. And because of that as well, they don't really stand apart. Besides Mufasa, Scar, of course, having those scars, Simba has these markings on his face, so to speak. You can't really tell them apart unless they talk, that kind of thing. That's the problem you have with the lions and the hyenas as well. There's not that much defining them in terms of their look. Another issue I had with this, and it's the issue that everybody else has with this, is you cannot connect emotionally with any of these animals. Yes, we have movies with animals where you feel all the feels and you tear up and you cry and all these sorts of things. But 9 times out of 10 in those movies, there's a human element. There's something there to bounce that emotion off of. With these animated films, what we always had was the emotion on the face, in the eyes, in their expressions. A very good example of this for me was Scar. In that, it's not that I'm probably slaughtering his name, I apologize in advance. It's not that Trutel Ejiofor does a bad job. He doesn't. But his Scar, because it's just a real lion, I never get that sense of charisma and that seductive nature that Scar had when Jeremy Irons voiced him in the animation.
Run away, Simba, and never return.
Run away, Simba. Run. Run away and never return.
It really disappointed me how mediocre that film is. And Lion King is also, in my opinion, a very mediocre film. It is not a bad film, and it has found its audience, because bloody thing made like $150 million when it opened or something like that this weekend gone. You know, it has its audience. These films are managing to draw people in, but it almost feels to me like we're being punked. I feel like I'm being robbed, and I feel like we're robbing kids out of what the magic, so to speak, that Disney magic that we got growing up when we saw these movies, when we connected with all of them back to back. Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Lion King, all of these movies, and the feelings it brought out in us. These movies are just cookie cutter, pretty versions of those films. So when it comes to Lion King, I recommend that you take your kids and you show them, if you have kids, show them the animated version first. Then maybe show them this and see how they respond. Don't let them see this first and think this is what Disney magic is supposed to look like, because it doesn't. This film is as mediocre as it gets, and because of that, I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. That's about it. There's not much else to say here. It's not a disappointment for me, because I went into this really not expecting that much. I've been going into all these Disney movies since Beauty and the Beast with very low expectations. Aladdin managed to surprise me. I did not think that movie would be that much fun. This movie, Aladdin did this, Lion King did that. This movie, I recommend, if you really want to see it, wait till it comes out on VOD or Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever, however you guys want to check your movies out. Don't waste your money seeing this movie. 5 out of 10. And that's going to be it for me, guys. So I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please feel free to hit that thumbs up button. It's really appreciated. If you guys want to subscribe to my channel, of course, you can click on my face right over there, and you can get past videos right on that side there. Next week, I don't have anything new here this week coming out in cinemas locally here in Trinidad and Tobago. We have like The Poison Rose with John Travolta, Morgan Freeman. I'm not paying money to go and see that. So I'm waiting for Hobbs and Shaw, guys. You know, that ridiculous, spectacular, I don't know. By now, it seems to be like it's supposed to be a superhero movie because nobody in that movie should survive anything that I saw in that trailer. So my next review will probably be for Hobbs and Shaw. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye. See my Lion King? Yeah, she has like a little crown and everything. He's actually a lot more emotive than anything in that movie.